Says the second Maimer, Pasha Shemini, Biur Anal, an explanation on the first Maimer about the Milchom of the Leviosin and Shirabor. He says here that this beer looks like it's from the Tzemach Tzedek, from the Loshen. He says in the beer, the fact that Nune Yama, the fish of the ocean, like Rav Nune, Shemini, the Arizal, and the greatness of Shirabor is simple. This we could understand because they are connected with the Yichud of Abba and Ima, and they are called brothers to the Rebishter, Achim V'Rei. It's a very high level. So we understand why Nune Yama is greater than Shirabor. But why could Shirabor be greater than Nune Yama? So he says, we can understand this, what it says. Posik in the Teichach in Pashkisove, Hoysa nivlos cholamachal cholei fashomayim will be Aretz. The vela will be for everybody to eat. What does this mean? Okay. It says vlos is neivlos. Neivlos means the bad grapes, but it fell from Shviras HaKelim, and it came in Nad and Noiga. Nothing will be left from it. Who will get it? Eif HaShomayim, the birds and the animals on the earth. What does this mean? So it's explained that Eif HaShomayim is Malochim Michoel, and there's Malochim which are called behemoths, not birds, and that's the Merkava that Yecheskel saw. So in the Malochim you have two groups, two kinds, Eif HaShomayim and B'Aretz. Says the Alter Rebbe that we have to know that by the Shomes, there's also these two categories. There's the Shomes that are called Eif, like it says in Zayar, Asher Shom Tziporim Mikanenu, the birds. And then the Shomes that are called B'Aretz, like it says, Gur Ari Yehuda, he likened Yehuda to a lion, Yisachar to a donkey, Yosef to an ox. So in each one of them, in one level, a bird is much greater than an animal because flies very easy. The bahama barely moves. But there's a greatness in an animal over a bird because the bird has very little life and it's easier to kill. That's why it says in Maseches Chulin that even if you slaughter one of the signs, it's enough to kill a bird. But a behema, you have to kill a majority of both simanim because it has a greater life. So same thing is with these two neshames. There is malachim that are called oif, birds, and there is neshames that are called birds that are greater. They could fly very high. They fly with their wings. The wings are called avaviyida. There's b'aretz that are very strong. They're stronger, like it says. It says in the vision of Yecheskel that the chayis, the animals that were called chayis, they picked up the kisei, they elevated the kisei hakovet. Who's on the kisei hakovet? Kimari Odom. So even in a lower level of behema, they have a lot of energy and a lot of passion to elevate the kisei. So even though there's a greatness in the level of Oiv and flying, Behemoths have strength. Explain why is it that these chayas have great energy? Because they get their life from Shviras HaKelim, from the world of Toyo. So they have a greater earth, like an animal stronger than a person because it comes from Toyo. But by the birds, it's not like that. They don't have this energy from Toyo. Because they're from zivug neshikin, they're from a higher level. But it's not from the essence of the world of Toyu, like it's explained from the Arizal. Even though we have to understand Akasha. Here he's saying that Malochim, that on the level of Bahama, they come from the Shviras HaKelim, so they have more energy. But in Eitz Chaim elsewhere it says that Malochim come from Zivug Neshikin. Zivug Neshikin means kisses. And the Neshamas come from not Zivug Neshikin, but Zivug Gufni, it's called. Because it's connected with the Etzem. That's where they can elevate the world. But Malochim, what shaykhs do they have? So the Tzemach Tzedek doesn't answer the question. But there's a greatness of Bahama over earth, and the strength, even though I'm flying, there's a greatness. There's a greatness in, even though the earth could fly greater, there's a greatness in Bahama. Here's our Gor from the Tzemach Tzedek on his mind, man. Maybe this is like the two parshas of Shema Voim Shemeya. Shema is the first portion, is the name Membeis. Voim Shemeya is connected with Shem Abd, even Membeis. Shem Membeis is connected with elevation of B'shtayim Yefet. And the first portion of Shema says B'chol Meidecha. And that's greater than Shem Ab, like the Zohar says in the Parsha of Truma. Nevertheless, in order to change the world and come down here, they could fly higher. But to come down here and change the world to Torah Mitzvos Maisis, this is Shem Ab, V'nosati Eisa V'sotro L'vimtech. So same way we could say, just like by the Mallachim we could say by the Neshamas that are called Nuneyama, they fly higher. Then there's Neshamas called Behemas Haaretz. Even though Nuneyama are great, they could fly and make yichudim. But they're like the birds of a Nuneyama and Beyam. There's a greatness in the Neshamas called Behemas Haaretz because without they could change the world. This is what in Tehillim on this pasuk it says. The Hey Moisbari Olef says that what is the Tag Menis and what does this mean? There is an animal that swallows 1,000 mountains a day. And this is Pinas Malchus. It elevates the spheres because the number 1,000 starts in the world of Bria. Because there's the beginning of separation. And this is another explanation why it's called Sheir HaBor. Tir Bor, Bor is outside, like Brais, outside. It goes out into the world, and the higher neshamas on the level of Yamal Midiskasi Machshova. It says, Yad Tzadik Nefesh Behemte. And like it says in Mikdash Melech, what is it there? Tzadik Nefesh Behemte means that the higher tzaddikim know the nefesh of Behemte, of the lower, and they help each other out. And that's what the wife of Rabbi Akiva, when Rabbi Akiva came back after 24 years, 24,000 students, and then they wanted to push her away while you're buying this, whether you're bothering Tzadik Rabbi Akiva, and she said, Yidei Tzadik Nefesh Behemte. Rabbi Akiva knows me. And these neshamas are called Behemas Haaretz, and then the world of Bria, they come from Malchus Datzilis. And this is what it says in the Geras HaKedesh from Alter Rebbe and Yovchayehi. It says in the Geras HaKedesh Siman Chof that from there is created neshamas that are Yesh Dov and Nifras Mema Bria. And they come in the world of Bria, but around that Silas, they're not separate from the Rebishter. We could maybe say Pshat, that what's the Chiluk and the Shamas that Silas and the Shamas the Bria? Shamas that Silas are Nuneyama, they're in the Yam, and they're totally not set for the Rebishter. But the Shamas are from Malchus that Silas and the Bria, they're Yesh V'Davar Nifra, they're called Behemas Haaretz, like Bruim Shembe'abosha, and they eat vegetation, and they're not like Nunayama, totally connected in the Rebishter. Then he goes further in the Maimer, and he says, look in the Eitz Chaim from the Arizal, he says that there is a zivug, a connection of Zoh and Malchus of Bria to bring the Shamas to Yitzira. So, and not Neshamas of Bria, because this is Zoh and Malchus of Bria putting the Shamas into Yitzira. So the same pshat here is when there's zivuk of Zoh and Malchus of Atzilus, it puts the Shamas in Bria. And it's also brought down in the Mishnah's Chassidim, in the Masechta of zivuk Abba v'Ima, that they give koyach in the yichud of Zoh Atzilus to make the Shamas in the world of Bria, and in Zoh the Bria to Zoh and Malchus of Bria to bring the Shamas in the world of Yitzira. And so it's mashma in the Zeir and Parsha Vayetze. Even though in the Zeir Vayikra it's mashma that for the yichud of Zoh and Malchus Atzilus, they could be called Nefesh Atzilus Mamish. It's a little contradiction from the Zeir Vayetze, from the Zeir Vayikra. And the Tzemach Tzedek doesn't answer it. But we know that they are created from Malchus Atzilus. They become the lower level, the level of Nefesh the Behema. This is what it says in the Zayah, that there's the 12 Shvatim in Bria, they're called Yud Beis Boker, the 12 oxen, on which big, Shlomo HaMelech had a big yam. This is the second level of Neshamas, are called Yud Beis Shvatim, that are in Bria, like it says in the Novi Malochim, that Shlomo HaMelech made a big mikveh of thousands of gallons of water, and they were standing on 12 bulls, 12 metal copper bulls. They're Yud Beis Boker, they're animals, they're connected with the Shvatim of El Bria, and they're called Boker because they have strong, like the Merkova, and they elevate the Kisei and the Odom Sh'ala Kisei, like it's explained before. So they're very strong, these neshamas. And it's explained elsewhere in Chassidus, Ron, Simchi, Bas. Jews have three names. They're considered Bas, and they're considered Achoisi and Imi. Bas is the lowest level, the level of daughter. Nevertheless, the pasuk says Ron, Simchi, Bas, because Malchus Bratzil is the way it goes down in Bria, and it struggles with everything. It'll have the highest aliyah. That's why it says Eishes Chayla Teres Baila shall be greater than the name Sag, even higher than Bina, like it's explained. And this is the Maila that Sheir HaBor has on the Levyosam, because it deals with Birurim, and it at the end gets the greatest aliyah, Eishes Chayla Teres Baila. And this is what it's explained elsewhere in Chassidus and the Zeir in Parsha Shlach. It says a pasuk in Zechariah, "V'ho yobayei mahu yetzu mayim chayim in Yerushalayim Mashiach will come." There'll be an amazing stream of water from Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is Malchus, and the pasuk says Chetzim al Yom HaKadmeni. It's Bina, because the Birurim. Malchus is Mevader in Bia. It has something over the highest levels of Chochmah Bina, like it's explained in Barichis and other drushim. And the reason for this is because no, it's safe for mitchilos and safe ma'aser machshava tchila. It's explained elsewhere in Chassidus the difference between no, it's safe for mitchilos and safe ma'aser. But here it's not negia. Negia here is that the lowest levels are notes, and the highest levels, because that's the tachas hakavone. So there is a keach of atzmus and malchus, because it's mevadevel. So that's why malchus becomes keser, becomes in Er Chezer. In Er Chezer, Malchus is greater. We know it says, there's a Moshe Tzemach Tzedek, that on our earth, it's hotter than in midair. Even though they're closer, midair is closer to the sun, but there's something called Er Chezer, a reflective light. It's reflected from the globe. So it goes back, it's warmer than in the middle. So Malchus has a mile in the Er Chezer. That's why the neshamas that are created from Malchus, that Tzilis. Like it said before from the Arizal, from the Zehar. They're created from Zivik Zun, they're greater from the neshamas connected from Chochmah, Bin, called Nuneyama, because of this Er Chezer. And even Zodat Tzilis, which are connected with the neshamas that Tzilis Mamish. Even if they're created from Zoh, they're greater than they were created from Bina. So knowing what it says, that Abba V'Ima go out from Umeach. But there's a famous Loshe Bratan Chassidus from the Idrizuta, that Zoh, Ba'atike Kadish Tali V'Yochid, that Zoh, even though it's lower than Seichel, but it has a shadish higher than Seichel. But it's nimshach l'mato, like it's knowing that the midas that a person has, who arouses the midas, is explained in great length, the seichel. But nevertheless, the shadish is higher than the seichel. That's why even the seichel is the one that arouses and starts the midas. The midas have more passion than the seichel. And that's what they say, that the ovis in Merkova, because the ovis are connected with midas. Because like it's no and Chassidus that the ovis are chesed, gvur, tiferes, that tzilis. They are in Merkava to pick up order, which is chokhmah, that tzilis, because in midas there's something greater than in moichin. And this is the explanation why the neshamas of Shira Bar elevate the Leviyosim and some neshamas v'Abba v'Ima, like Chagas, that tzilis can elevate chokhmah higher than chokhmah. And the midas that tzilis, compared to chokhmah, like behemoths that are stronger than a person because it's from a higher source, because behemoth is midas and other is chokhmah. So this explains, he's explaining the Kabbalah. He starts off the Maimer saying the fact that Nunayam is greater, self-understood. And he's coming to explain in this Maimer why Neshamas the Bria have something greater. He says further in Agor, look in the Mikdash Melech to the Zeir Pasha Shemini. And the Posik, the Sheir Va'ayil Sheir is B'Yesed Zo, like it says by Yisabchir Sheir Hoderlei. Because since the Sheir is of the Shamas of Nukva and Malchus, they're Mevader Birurifel Mateo. So the same explanation why the Mikdash Melech says, B'Chir Sheir Hoderlei, that in the Shama that's Mevader Birurim is greater. And also look what's explained in Likkutei Torah Shirashirim and the Pasuk. Shcheir ani v'nova, that Malchus says, I'm Shcheira, I'm dark. I had to go down the B'riyatzir, I see to be Mevader Birurim. But you should know, v'nova, I go very high. Because of my tzimtzumim and my birurim, I end up going very high. So don't look at me, Shira, need believe in Nova, there's a very great beauty in me. And these are the neshamas that are called Sheir Habor. This is Pshat in Chazal and the Medrash and Parshas. On the Parsha of Shemini, it says, Behemoth, that the Sheir Habor will kill the Leviosa with its horns. There's the Gemara in Chagige. It says from one Rekia to another Rekia takes 500 years. There's a lot of Rekiyas, and then you come to Ragli Achayis, they're greater than all the Rekiyas put together. Then the Gemara says, Kani Achayis is Keneged Kula. Because Ragli Achayis is Nehi. Netzachei Disayden Kani Achayis is Keser. They grow out of the Golgalis. Because like we explained before in the Maimon, that there is Kesed, Mil Maila Lamato. Then there's Kesed Lamato Maila, counting backwards from Malchus and up. It becomes a Kesed and picks up Livyosa. In Chochmah Bina picks it up Be'era Kesed. And this is what's explained elsewhere. On the pasuk Romokani Bashem David Shimshcho Bekeren, that those Melakim that will have Keren, their Malchus was forever. Shinking with a Pach, it's not forever. What's the Biur? Because Keren is connected with Kecha Atzmi, that's connected with Levar and Biruri. And this is Pshat in the pasuk Pisa Nosan Levyenim. He does mitzvahs ma'asis like the neshamas from Shirabor. Kani Torim Bechovid Torim Kani. Through mitzvahs ma'asis, you get a connection with Atzmas Samus, because that's a tachas hakavone. And this is what it says: Bechir Sherik Fikani Reim Kana. Torim Kirim Kani Balisi B'Shem and Rana, that's elevated to a very high level. Could explain also this idea that the Shir Abor will elevate the Levyosni, even though the Yam are much greater than Behema Sohoreds. So it's weiter with the Gemara and Chagiga. The Gemara says about Yam v'Yabosha. Yam is Alma de Iskasi. Higher than Yabosha, it's Alma de Isgalia. This is Seder Ishtalshlus. But through Agilui, higher than Seder Ishtalshlus, it says Hofach Yam v'Yabosha. That Yom and Yabosha are the same thing, and Nochmerek Achashecha Machshov Agdum is the Gemara is Eretz Kodma. So these are the same thing with these neshamas from the level of Yom and Yabosha. Mitzad say the Ishtalshlus, the Lev Yosem will slaughter the Shir Abor, will elevate him, like we said before the Maimon, and then going Milmatu L'Mailon Eretz Kodma Tzadikecha Atzmi, we say that the Shir Abor will elevate the Lev Yosem. More we could say regarding the Shir Abor and the Lev Yosem. It's explained elsewhere in Chassidus and the pasuk Shishim Ema Malchus Achas Yinosi. So we see the neshamas are greater than Torah because there's Shishim Malachis that are watching the neshamas. The Shishim Malachis and the Shishim Meshechtes, and the Yinosi is Knesset Yisrael. And sometimes it says Faket that the Torah is higher than the Shamas, and the Shamas connected to the Torah, and through the Torah they connected to the Eibishter. So there's two levels. There's a level of Leizos Michabat Shekoro Biti de Mekabel. Then there's Koro Imi, there's the Shamas where they are Mashpi and Torah. And this is the two levels of the Osun Shir Abor. Shir is strong and Shiri Chozok Le'els of the Gemara. El mitzvahs el dafapinis eved. And Daf gets through this aliyah, he becomes v'nasatelach mahalchim b'neim nimoela, the neshama has strength to go in the level of mahalchin. He brings the medrash. Parashat Vayera says, "Ma'ala v'usha shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu ois." Hashem eis la'amiyitin, those are the mitzvahs, the way they help a yid to elevate to the Eibishter. And in this level, a yid is mekabel for the mitzvahs. Through them, he's able to go and be le'malchim eim nimo'ele. And the levushim are also called like a ship, like arbim v'aniyes. Through the ship, you could go in the yam etzama diskasya. That's the lower level of the neshama. But there is higher neshamas. They have rusadli b'chol meidecha, like the Hasidim or the Shenim brought that in the Gemara in Brachos is the daven a whole day, and they didn't have enough so much time to study Torah because they were higher than Torah. And this is what the Gemara says. Navi the Zara, you could be Cohen elam haba in one moment. This is the neshama that was higher level of Torah. Let me see the Snefesh Rusa the Libo. And that's the status of Torah. That's the union from Leizos Mechabava Achekora Imi. And those is Achasi Yenosi. It's the way the neshama is higher than Torah. That's the neshama of Nuneyama. And this is Pshat Liv Yosa. He goes around the whole world, the whole globe. He's higher than all the ships, the Vushamites and mitzvahs. This helps a neshama be elevated from the level of Malay to Sevev. He's mashpia in Sevev, he's mashpia in Chochmah. Like it says by David HaMelech. So even though that this level is greater, Livyasan is greater than Sherabor, that it's biti, but also love we say don't even seem to bassi. The Shachanti Beseiche, the Davki ni ask Yashkelav the Yormani. So we say about Mashiach, not an Indian from we don't call Moshe Rabbeinu, we say Yashkelav because this Indian of Eved, of Kesher Leil Hazem Adrege connected with the Etzem of the Rebishter. Like we said in Sefer Yitzira. Then in the Maimon note, say from the Chiloson, that's where they have a Mile. So this Maimon explains the Kabbalah of what we learned before. The Kabbalah of the Mile of Sheir Abor over Levyos. Yeshekeach, maybe see all these the Giluyim very soon.